The sun was barely peeking over the horizon, painting my 30-acre ranch in soft gold, when chaos erupted at my front gate. Sheriff Daniel's voice cut through the crisp Arizona morning. "Ma'am, step back from the gate, now." Linda Harper, in her garish pink robe and flip-flops, was a whirlwind of rage, arms flailing as she shrieked, "Arrest him. He shut off my water. He's a menace." The deputy shot me a skeptical glance before turning back to her. "Ma'am, this is his property. That water line doesn't even feed your house." Linda stomped her foot like a toddler. "I don't care. I've always used it. He can't just cut me off." It was 7:03 a.m., and my peaceful ranch home to my horses and dogs, Rusty and Bella, was anything but serene. Two squad cars flashed their lights behind Linda's rusty minivan, while nosy neighbors clutched coffee mugs, gawking from the fence. The sheriff turned to me. "Mr. Carter, you pressing charges?" Before I could respond, Linda screeched. He attacked me with a wrench. A wrench? That was it. I opened my mouth, but Linda lunged through the gate, and well, let's rewind to how I ended up here. I'm Ethan Carter, a 41-year-old retired firefighter from Tucson. After 2 decades dodging flames and saving lives, I bought this northern Arizona ranch to escape the city's noise, raise horses, and live quietly with my dogs. No wife, no kid, just me, Rusty, Bella, and wide open land. I thought a remote ranch would shield me from petty disputes, but I was dead wrong. Enter Linda Harper, the self-styled queen of the Crestview Meadows HOA, a sham organization for the subdivision awkwardly hugging my ranch's southern border. Crestview marketed itself as luxury rural living, but it was just overpriced houses next to my cow-scented fields. Linda, mid-50s, with peroxide blonde curls and a penchant for stilettos in the dirt, claimed to lead the HOA. Turns out it was just a Facebook group, and her inflated ego no legal standing whatsoever. At first, Linda was tolerable. She'd wave from her gleaming SUV or drop off store-bought cookies I never touched. But things soured when she asked to tap my private well to fill her koi pond during a drought. I said no, politely. She didn't take it well, showing up with a folder of grainy online maps, insisting she had historical rights. I laughed, told her to call my lawyer, and thought that was the end. Then she started trespassing, poking around my irrigation lines like she owned the place. Fed up, I installed cameras and a steel gate. What I didn't know was that Linda had secretly hooked a hose to an old spigot near my barn, siphoning my water to her lawn for who knows how long. When I found it leaking into the brush, I shut off the valve and capped it. Common sense, right? Wrong. The next morning, Linda was at my gate, screaming like I'd kidnapped her cat. "That water's mine. It flows through shared land," she yelled. "We don't share land, Linda," I shot back. "Your house is over that fence." Pointing at my water meter, she spat. "You don't own the groundwater." I held my ground. "I drilled that well. It's mine." Her face went crimson as she dialed 911, glaring at me. "There's a man stealing utilities and threatening me with a wrench," she cried into the phone. By the time the cops arrived, Linda was sobbing theatrically, claiming elder abuse and frogs in distress. The deputies weren't buying it. "Ma'am, he owns this ranch," one said. But Linda doubled down, accusing me of assault. When she lunged at me and bashed her knee on the gate, she collapsed, wailing, "You broke my leg." The sheriff sighed. "You hit the gate, ma'am. Nobody touched you." My cameras caught it all, and her eyes widened. She knew she was busted. Still, she pivoted. "My brother's a lawyer. He'll sue you for water rights violations." I smirked. Good luck with that. But I knew this wasn't over. Linda wasn't always this unhinged. When she moved in, she seemed friendly, baking pies, hosting book clubs, even offering to watch my ranch once. But her favors became demands. She let her grandkids roam my pasture, spooking my horses. When I asked her to get permission next time, she huffed, "You're not neighborly, Ethan." Then came the notes in my mailbox. "Your horses stink up our air. Your trees lower our property values. Share your water for efficiency." Ignoring her was my mistake. That's when I found her hose, snaking from my spigot to her sprinkler. I cut it, capped the line, and got a note taped to my gate. "Shame on you. The HOA will handle this." I called my lawyer, Tom Reed, a former firehouse buddy. He laughed for a solid minute. "She's stealing your water and threatening you? That's trespassing and theft." He sent a cease and desist letter, but Linda went nuclear, distributing flyers accusing me of hoarding resources. She even claimed 2 feet of my fence was HOA land. 2 days later, I shut off her illegal line, and she called 911. After her gate lunch stunt, I thought she'd back off. Nope. That night, her brother, Greg Harper, called, all slick and smug. Restore the water by morning, or we'll file an injunction for shared utility rights. I laughed. Sue me for shutting off my own well? See you in court. But Linda didn't wait for court. At dawn, a backhoe roared onto my pasture, digging a trench near the capped line. Linda, in a robe and sun hat, waved a clipboard like a war general. The operator shrugged. She said she owns this strip and showed me papers. I was livid. That's a Home Depot receipt taped to a Google Earth printout. Sheriff Daniels arrived, rubbing his temples. Karen, we talked about this. I demanded they leave and fill the trench. Then disaster struck. The backhoe hit an old electrical conduit, sparking a small explosion. Linda screamed, the operator ducked, and I stared at $3,000 in damages. That night, my cameras caught her again, sneaking onto my land at 2:41 a.m., digging near my barn with a spoon. A spoon. She muttered about rerouting her plumbing to my line. When the sheriff cuffed her, she shrieked, "My brother's a lawyer." The next morning, a letter arrived from the Crestview Neighborhood Council demanding a public hearing on my ranch about my well. And signed, with a clip-art logo, it reeked of Linda. My lawyer urged me to shut it down, but I had a plan. I mowed a field, set up chairs, and rigged floodlights, microphones, and a projector. Saturday came, and Crestview residents trickled in, Linda strutting last in a pantsuit and headset like a wannabe CEO. Her brother Greg clutched a briefcase, using arrogance. "Welcome, neighbors," I said, grinning. Linda launched into a speech, demanding 30% of my well and accusing me of violent deprivation. I raised my hand. How many had permission to use my water? She ignored me. I hit play on the projector, showing Linda's spoon-digging, backhoe scheme, and 911 lies. The crowd gasped. I handed out my deeds and permits, then revealed her illegal pump from her backyard. Linda snapped, smashing the projector. Sparks flew, her clipboard caught fire, and she rolled in the dirt, screaming about her hair. The sheriff cuffed her for destruction and unlawful assembly. Greg slinked away. 3 days later, Child Protective Services knocked, claiming I hid kids in my barn without water. Linda's doing, no doubt. I showed the agent everything: barn, house, garage. She apologized, noting the caller's harassment. I dug deeper, learning Linda collected drought fees, claiming I got the cash. She'd filed fake noise complaints, a bogus lien, and a grant application using my ranch. That night, I caught her prying open my water meter with a crowbar. "This isn't yours," she screamed, fleeing and face-planting in the gravel. The sheriff arrested her for vandalism. Turns out, Greg wasn't even a lawyer disbarred for forgery. The HOA was a myth, built on lies. Linda faced charges: fraud, trespassing, arson, conspiracy. A raid uncovered her Phase 2 plan to seize my ranch for HOA expansion. She'd wanted my land all along, to develop or control. The HOA dissolved, and neighbors apologized, bringing muffins and respect. But a chilling letter arrived. Sleep with one eye open. The HOA president. Then a kerosene-fueled fire scorched my fence. Drone footage caught a figure in a Crestview HOA hoodie. Raids nabbed Linda's lackey, Daniel, and Greg, but I knew this wasn't over. My ranch was mine, but peace? That was a fight I'd keep waging.